Shalom Kita, hey! I know you miss me. I miss you too. It's a big tragedy not having school today and to have so many days without school. I'm sure that it's just breaking your heart, but I thought I'd bring a little joy to you with a little work today. Stay tuned. We're going to learn a little bit more about Chumash today. What you need before we start is your Choveret Chumash. We're going to be going over the work that you've already done on pages 20 and 21, and then I'm going to tell you how to continue on the rest of page 21 and page 22. So in front of you, you should have your Chumash workbook open to page 20. You should have a pencil so that you can make any corrections if you need to. And I want to encourage you at any point that you want to pause this video to make changes or to go backwards and review something that went by too quickly for you. You can do that. You can do this completely at your own pace. So let's get started. Okay, let's look at number 1. Samnu ba'amudim 18 עד 19 בצבע ורוד את המילים מן השורש י' למד ד'. מצאתם kama milim. So I looked through here and I looked through to see how many places I found words with the shorosh yud lamed daled, and I found 12. I don't know what you found, but I have found 12, so I'm going to fill in 12 here. Oh, it's kind of messy. Hold on. Okay, that says 12 there. Let's just assume that says 12. Make sure that yours says 12. And then, after that, Samnu b'tzeva kachol et hamilim min hashorosh chet yud hey, which means life, or living. Matzatem, ani matzati, chamesh milim. Okay. Sha'aru. Here they want you to figure out for yourself. It doesn't exactly say, mahu hanoseh shel haketa. What is the topic of this paragraph? So we've talked many times about if you see a word repeating over and over and over again, it's going to tell you something about the paragraph and the topic of the paragraph. So here we have a lot of words that have to do with giving birth, and we have a lot of words about living. So you have probably written down something here about the topic. Ulai, you could say, Hayeladim Chayu, the children lived. That would be one way to answer it. If you have something else, that's okay. And so long as your topic is coming up with something that has to do with the fact that there were children being born and that they are living. So that's what that paragraph is asking you for. Now, on number 4, Hakifu b'magal et hatzav shel paro lemiyaldot. זה בפסוק, באיזה פסוק זה? זה בפסוק tet zayin. Okay, look back at it if that's not what you had. Tet zayin. This is where Paro says, Vayomer, biyaladchen et ha'ivriot, uriten al ha'ovnaim, im ben hu v'hamiten oto, v'im bat hi v'chaya. That is Paro giving his commandment to the midwives, telling them to kill the boys that are born. Mispar 5, Hakifu b'magal et hatzav shel Paro la'amo. So now we're looking for hatzav, the command that Paro gives to his people. And that's going to be at the end of the section. We already have read this. Pasuk kaf bet. And this is what Paro says to his people. Kol haben hayilud hayeora tashlichuhu, v'kol habat techayun. So if you weren't sure about that one, look back at it. This is Paro telling his entire people that they should throw the baby boys into the river. This is only after the previous plan had not worked, after he'd already had the midwives doing his dirty work, or so he thought. When that didn't work, he went on to this, which was plan number 3. His first plan, remember, was enslaving Bnei Israel, but still they grew. His second plan was having the midwives kill the baby boys, and still they grew. So this is plan number 3, telling the entire Egyptian people to throw the baby boys in the water. Mispar shesh. Pa'amayim katuv shemiyaldot yaru et Elokim. Samnu b'tzeva tzahov. So you should have gone back and found the 2 places where it tells you that the miyaldot feared God. You would have found one in Pasuk Yod Zayin and one in Pasuk Kaf Bet. Mimi hen lo yaru. Who were they not afraid of? Here your answer should be Paro. They were not afraid of Paro, or they at least didn't let it influence their actions if they were. In number 7, you're going to be choosing between the word lahachayot, to cause to live, or to make live, or lahamit, to make die. Now, for those of you that have been understanding some of the more advanced grammar I've been showing you in class, notice that in both of these situations, you know the shoresh, and in this form, in the infinitive, the shem poel form, a hey has been added after the lamed, and we've talked about how when that happens, it's often that you're causing somebody else to do the action. So if that makes sense to you, great. If you didn't catch that, that's advanced grammar. Don't worry about it. Melech Mitzrayim tziva al hamiyaldot lahamit. They're supposed to kill lahamit et habanim. Hamiyaldot bacharu. They chose lachachayot otam. They chose to let them live. Mispar Shmona lama hamiyaldot lo asu ma shetziva alehen Paro. Why did the midwives not do what Paro told them to do, commanded them to do? And they're telling you, look back at Pasuk Yod Zayin. In Pasuk Yod Zayin, it tells us, and you should turn in your book and look at it if you haven't done so, Vatirena hamiyaldot et ha-Elohim. So that is your answer here. And you just copy that part of the Pasuk, or you can write it in your own words. Okay, Vatirena hamiyaldot. I might not have room here. Maybe I do. Et ha-Elohim. Okay, so that could be your answer, or if you wrote it in your own words, you might say hamiyaldot yaru et Elohim, and that would be more in modern Hebrew. For number 9, we're going to compare a pasuk that we read earlier in this chapter with one that we've just read. Mima chashash Paro. What was Paro concerned about? What was he afraid of? They're telling you, look in Pasuk Yod, which is on page 11, and you'll find exactly what we're looking for. Pen yirbeh. He's worried that that Am Yisrael is going to increase. Pen yirbeh. And what happened in the end? Ma kara basof. Here they're telling you, look at Pasuk Kaf, and you'll see that it says Vayirav ha'am. The nation increased in spite of his efforts. The nation increased. Vayirav ha'am v'ya'atzmu ma'od, and they became very huge. So, based on that, the next question: Paro hitzliach or lo hitzliach? Certainly, if he was concerned about them growing and tried to stop it, and then they grew anyway, Paro lo hitzliach. Ki. You say ki, and you can copy the pasuk right here. Vayirev ha'am. Or if you wanted to put it in your own words, you could say ki hayu harbe Yehudim, or harbe b'nei Yisrael, so that you could see exactly why it is that Paro did not succeed, and it comes from this pasuk right here. Well, congratulations, you guys. You have gone over your work that was already done in your book, and now, since I'm so pleased, we're ready to move on to the next set. Look how happy you've made these guys. They're so happy to see you, and that you've done your work, and you're ready to move on. Excellent job. So now let's look at the new work and make sure you understand what you need to do. These are deeper questions. They require thought. The answer is not given to you always in the psukim. Mispar Echad. Lama tziva paro. Why did God command, not God, why did Paro command lahamit rak et habanim? Why did Paro command just to kill the boys? Now, this is a question that's come up many times in class, and you've wanted to know that. They're telling you to look back at Pasuk Yud. Pasuk Yud, that was on page 11, where it said all of the things that Paro was afraid of. Hava nitchak malo, let's be smart about it. Pen yirbeh, or else they will increase. Vaya in tikrena milchama, v'nosaf gam hu also neno, v'nilcham banu. He was afraid of there being a war, that they would join in a war against them with their enemies. So why would the boys be more of a danger if he's worrying about war? Mispar Shnaim. Hamiyaldot chayu b'sakana. Mahi. What is the danger that the miyaldot are in when they decide to defy Paro? Mispar Shalosh. Hashemot shel hamiyaldot hen. And it tells you right here, look in Pasuk Tet Vav, it's going to tell you what their names are. Lama chashuv laskir et hashemot shel hamiyaldot l'datchem. This is totally your opinion. Why is it important that the names of the miyaldot are mentioned here? We often have people mentioned just by their role, miyaldot, but we're specifically given their names. Why do you think that is? Here's your chance to be creative. On number 4 here, you need to think through the position that Shifra and Pua were in when they get this commandment from Paro. And you're going to write a conversation, a dialogue, a du-siach. Comes from the word siach, looks like sicha, which is a conversation, right? Ben hamiyaldot acharei tzav shel Paro. Paro has told them what to do. They are discussing between themselves what they should do. Lishmoa o lo lishmoa leParo. Ech yirat Hashem mashpia alehen va'od. So are they going to listen to Paro, not listen to Paro? How are they influenced by their yirat Elokim, their fact that they are God-fearing? You get to be creative here and come up with your own ideas of what that might have sounded like. Mispar Chamesh. Shnei perushim lemiyaldot ha'ivriot. This is from Pasuk Tet Vav. Now, they're not assuming that you understand about smichut, but you do understand about smichut, and you know exactly what the issue was that we had with this phrase, miyaldot ha'ivriot. We weren't sure if the word ivriot was a noun, in which case we have 2 nouns together, and it would be smichut, and then we would translate it as hamiyaldot shel ha'ivriot, the midwives of the ivriot. Or the other possibility was that this is actually, the word ivriot is actually an adjective that describes miyaldot, in which case we know that the miyaldot were actually ivriot, that they were Hebrew women, which is this possibility. If the miyaldot were Hebrew women, then we know something more about their identity. But if they were not Hebrew women, if we do not assume it's smichut, then we don't know if they were Egyptian or if they were Hebrew. But the possibility remains that perhaps these were Egyptian women. So they want you to look at each possible translation and figure out what's the lesson that we learn about from each possibility. So the first one, im hamiyaldot hayu ivriot, if the midwives were Hebrew women, ma anachnu lomdim mizeh. What do we learn from that? From the fact that the Hebrew women were the ones that saved us in this situation? Or the other possibility, im hamiyaldot hayu mitzriot, if the midwives were Egyptian, ma anachnu lomdim mizeh. What's the lesson to be learned there? All right, so now you've completed going through the work for today. You've got the Either you finished as we went along or you're ready to start working on the new work. And I'm very proud of you. I'm giving you a thumbs up. It's a snow day and you're here hard at work. You guys are amazing. See you next week.